trying to explain to a man that if a girl says to leave us alone, do anything but leave us alone. Unless it's said multiple times, but most of the time, girls just like, we want the attention. We want you to like...
Honestly, at this point, men should just be using this as a screening tool. Just wait for her to have this moment where she tells you to leave her alone and then actually leave her alone and see what happens. Because if she appreciates your respect of her boundaries, that is a green flag. But if she has the opposite reaction, she doesn't appreciate it, run. Just run. There's nothing more to it.
Once again, these women are educated. They're educated saying this type of stuff.
I literally feel sick to my stomach right now. Tonight, a man stood me up on a date via his assistant. So I had matched with this man on Raya a few days ago. Let's call him Andrew. He's 40 years old. And we didn't really have much back and forth conversation. He just straight up asked me out for dinner tonight, Tuesday at 7 p.m. I did think it was kind of weird that he kept things on the app. Like usually guys will ask for your number and they'll just be texting you, but he kept things on the app, which I did find a bit weird. Anyway, it was a lot of effort to get to this date because I had spent the whole day in Midtown and downtown, and I had to take the subway all the way uptown to where I live, quickly do hair, makeup, get ready, take an expensive Uber all the way back downtown. I was running about 10 minutes late and I was already feeling really nervous and anxious because I didn't want to keep this man waiting. I sent him a message letting him know that I was running late. I get there at like 7:10 and I said, "Hi, I'm out front." And he said, "Okay, 1 minute." About a minute later, a man comes to meet me who is definitely not Andrew. He looks like he's like in his mid-20s, very well-dressed, very attractive guy. And he said, "Are you Susanna?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Hi, I'm Andrew's assistant. Just give me 1 second. I'm just going to call Andrew." So he gets his phone out to make a phone call, and he walks halfway down the block, so I can't hear what they're saying, but I can tell that the conversation is not good because his body language seems quite upset. Then about 2 or 3 minutes later, he walks back to where I'm standing and he said, "I'm sorry, it's not going to work out." And I said, "Oh, can I ask why?" And he said he has a different type. And then he walked off and left me standing on the side of the road in full going out clothes and heels. And it was clear that he really didn't want to engage further with me. He was clearly trying to get away from me as fast as he could. And I checked the app a couple of minutes later and I had already been unmatched. I have so many questions about this situation. Firstly, you saw my photos and you initiated the conversation with me. Like, this man messaged me first, inviting me to dinner. How could I not be your type when you can see what I look like from your photos? Also, this was not a catfish situation where he meets me in real life and I've heavily photoshopped my photos and I don't look like that in person, or I'm really overweight in real life. Not only are these recent photos, but I've actually had a lot of men who met me on apps tell me that I actually look better in real life than I do in my photos. So I don't think it's a catfishing issue. It just upset me because I was just like, you really wasted my time. The getting ready time, the fact that I put an evening aside for this that I could have scheduled anything else, and not to mention the $40 or $50 I spent on an Uber downtown. Also, how humiliating it is to be left standing in the middle of the road because I'm apparently not good enough to be worthy to be seen by you. That's the other thing. This man didn't even come out to see me. Apparently I wasn't even worthy of his time or his eyes even having to look at me. I wasn't even worthy of being in his presence. And that's the other thing, like, it's amazing how the assistant just knew what his type was. He has a different type. How do you know? So yeah, that's my Tuesday night. How about you?
Well, I don't agree with him standing you up like that. Just trying to see something real quick. I don't agree with him standing you up. That looks a lot better than what this is right here. That's what I was looking at. Yeah, this looks different. Almost look like a different person. I don't agree with him standing you up, but what I will say is it's Raya. So if the man is sending out an assistant, that man has money. I think Simone Biles met her husband on Raya. So you have a lot of high profile people on that app. You guys, and I'm sorry to say it, average women get on that app thinking that you're just about to pull. Well, I look good, I look cute, yada, yada, yada. Not cute enough. Clearly, the man sent out his assistant, probably snapped a picture and says, I was thinking she looked one way. I ain't really feeling it. I'm not going to do it. And it once again makes sense that he kept it on the app because he doesn't want you knowing his number because he is he might be a high profile guy. So those types of men that you guys want, once again, are rejecting you, and the men that you don't want, you continue to basically do them the same way. So at some point in time, you're going to have to humble yourself. Talk about, oh, well, the guys, I don't think it's a catfishing issue. It's probably not. But once again, he probably saw you and was like, she don't look like she ain't a bombshell. And it might seem like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But once again, when these are high profile men, they can be picky.
That night I went out with friends. They left me there. So I went to the bar, thought I would just enjoy the rest of my drink by myself, go home, whatever. A man pulls up a seat next to me. He seems nice, handsome. We're having a good conversation. Everything's fine. I think everything's fine. Until he says to me, hey, I think you're really beautiful. Normally I would love to ask you out on a date, but I'm a little bit scared. I said, scared? What do you mean? He said, I don't know, I just get this obsessive vibe from you. How so? I'm like, I literally just met you. What do you mean? What is it? What is it? Is it my eyes? He said, I don't know, it's just a vibe. I feel like if we went out, we would end up back at your place and I would end up like locked in your basement and people would be like looking for me. Well, you would love my basement. I've got it ready for you right now. I've got new AC, new mattress, fresh towels. I'll take you out once a week at twilight. We'll dance and we'll watch movies and you'll like it until you learn to love it. You're gonna learn to love an obsessive woman.
Dramatic. So for a month, I'm flushing the toilet and it's still blue. And I'm complaining about it every day. I'm like, Nick, I can't live like this anymore. I cannot live with the blue toilet water. So literally, like, we're laying in bed the other night and I just go on TikTok, like, how do I empty the back of my toilet tank so I can, so that I can get rid of this blue water. I literally, like, put in the search bar, how do I empty the back of a toilet tank?
So you can get rid of somebody that cleaned the toilet? They cleaned and disinfected the toilet. You want to get rid of that?
He gets up in a fury, like, oh my God, you're making such a big deal about this. When did you get so highfalutin? Blah, 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 blah. You've changed so much. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, changed so much. Like, we live in a pretty nice neighborhood. Like, it's 2024. Like, what are you doing where you think this was a good idea? So that night, he emptied the toilet bowl somehow. I still don't know how to do it. And it's great. It looks good now in the main bathroom, but not the master.
This might surprise some of you, but I do think this is a big deal because that man is clearly not appreciated for anything more than toilet water. So yeah, I do think this is a big deal. That man is absolutely justified in his reaction. And honestly, he needs to set some boundaries to ensure respect and appreciation for everything he does in that relationship. And that man better not say sorry when it somehow gets turned around on him.
Yeah, I agree. Essentially what happened is the man cleaned the toilet and he put one of those little droplets or tabs or whatever it is that you put in the back of the toilet. You lift up the top, you drop it in and changes colors. The water changes colors basically for that specific one. And she's complaining because the water was blue instead of being white. And he's like, what the heck? Why are you complaining because the water is blue? Well, I don't like it blue. This is what modern women do. They make life miserable for their husbands. It don't matter what it is. They complain that a man doesn't do something. The man goes and does it. Then they say, oh, shoot, you didn't do it how I wanted to do it. Thinking about one of the guys that subscribes to my channel. We've had some conversations back and forth to where, once again, his wife, who they're separated now, but would go on and on about how he wasn't doing things right around the house, wasn't stacking the dishwasher right, just really couldn't do anything. And it gets to a point where you're like, what the heck? What do I need to do in order for you to just shut up? Modern women need to learn to be grateful.
You can love a person, miss a person so much, but still have the wisdom to know they're not your person. And you're better off not together.
Ready with me on my floor while I talk about things that I'm doing to cope with my divorce at age 26. One thing that I'm doing, which is what I'm getting ready for right now, is I've been going to the gym. I've either been going to the gym or I've been walking. So other than like wanting to lose weight and like be more confident and everything, I honestly started walking a lot because I was having such bad anxiety dealing with the divorce and just like being so worked up, and I was off of work. I didn't have anything else to do. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go for a walk. And I made a little video about this before on my page, but when I would go on these walks, I wouldn't listen to like motivating music or anything like that. I would literally walk, listen to sad music, and a lot of times I would cry, which is probably kind of weird to some people. But it honestly helped quite a bit because I would sit there and I would listen to these songs that I would resonate with. And then I would just kind of get to a point in the walk where then I would like start getting like mad. I would start getting like pissed off about the situation. So many people would be like get mad at the situation, like to help me with like my sadness and stuff like that. And I could never like I was just like, I can't, like, I mean, I was mad, but I was like, I love this person. I can't be mad at this person. Like, I don't know. It was really hard for me to get angry. But like I said, I feel like listening to all these sad songs that I like really resonated with then made me feel like, I don't know, more motivated. And then eventually, like towards the end of the walk, I would be mad. I would be pissed off, but like I would come down from like the severe anxiety, like panic attack anxiety that I was having. So yeah, I've been walking a lot, and then I recently started going to the gym a few weeks ago, just to kind of, obviously, like I said, lose weight, feel more confident, and just to like give me something to do. Now, I had pretty bad anxiety before all of this started, which is like, I guess, part of the reason for the divorce. And so something that I would do to help me cope with the anxiety would be distracting myself. So I feel like that's the best thing for me to do right now through all of this, is continuing to find distractions. So with that being said, another thing that I'm doing, and I feel like it might be kind of crazy, is I'm going back to school. It's something that I thought about doing before the divorce. I applied to go back to school before the divorce because it was free through my work. But I was never really serious about it until like a month ago. I was like, you know what? I don't have anything else going on. My future has changed so much. My future plans have changed so much that why not just go back to school for free? And if I hate it, I hate it. Another thing that I have been doing a lot, which is like pretty, I don't know, self-explanatory, is I've been surrounding myself with a lot of like friends and family that are supportive. Specifically been surrounding myself with like my mom, my sisters, my nephews. It just feels good to be around them, and like obviously they're comforting and supportive in like what I'm going through. Another thing I've been trying to do is to like find hobbies and things that I enjoy, because a lot of things that I enjoyed was something that my partner also enjoyed, and so it's really hard for me to do those things and not think of her. So one thing is, if you knew me in high school, you knew that I was like obsessed with makeup, and like I was the 2016 makeup girl, you know what I mean? And then like COVID kind of happened. I work in the medical field, and so I had to wear masks all the time. Then I got busy with nursing school. So like makeup kind of like got pushed to the side, and then I just kind of became a person who just only wore like concealer and like powder and mascara, and that was pretty much it. But I'm trying to get back into it. I'm trying to become like a makeup girl again because it is fun and it does make you feel good about yourself. Another thing that I've obviously been doing is making TikToks. So if you know me, yep, I'm in my TikTok era. I don't know. It just is kind of like a little diary for me. Just once again, another distraction. I've had a lot of people comment on my stuff and be really supportive about things, which is really nice too. Another thing that I forgot to mention, which is like a huge one, is I've been going to therapy, and I also went through like a partial hospitalization program. So I guess if anyone wants any elaboration on that, I can go into that more. But yeah.
You know, the thing I think that stands out to me is that she's just so, I'm reading it as nonchalant. Like, oh, I'm on TikTok now. And what they're using TikTok as is like they say a diary, and they're sharing a lot of stuff. I think she was married to a woman, it sounds like. They use TikTok as well, I don't even care if I'm sharing this stuff. You know, everybody goes through it, so why should I not say this type of stuff? And I think when you start to think like that, that's kind of what messes up relationships, because nothing is sacred. It gets down to a deeper problem that men have with a lot of modern women. And she was in a relationship with a woman, if I heard correctly. But people in general, women, if you're in a lesbian relationship, women are going to get tired of that as well. Nothing is sacred in our relationship. I might, as a woman, understand your past, and so I might forgive you for that. But there's a lot of thought processes that come with that. So when you continue to follow in those same patterns and behaviors, then all of a sudden it becomes, whereas you said it wasn't a problem before the marriage, it becomes a problem in the marriage. And now you're on my territory, so I can speak on it, right? So I look at her making these TikToks, and great for you for going to the gym and getting back in school and getting around friends and family to heal. But I think, you know, some things are more important, and those things maybe should not be shared online. And that's what I see a lot of modern women doing today, is just sharing way too much information.
Early on, was that even though we shared a house, it was purchased not in my name and was purchased prior to us being married. Although we purchased it together, wasn't in my name, and it was prior to being married. So guess who doesn't get the house or any assets of the house? Me. And I guess I just, even after getting married, it was just something that I had never like considered a whole ton about getting my name on the house. I probably obviously should have. But I mean, yeah, the most I could get would be what the house has acquired in value since we've been married, which was only like 7 months, so not really worth it at the point. I also know that it's different in some states. Like in some states, if you have proof of payment and like proof that you've done like home improvement and you've paid for bills and stuff, which I have all of that, you are entitled to the house. But in the state of Illinois, which is where I'm from, I'm not entitled to the house. Only things that was purchased for the house, like pre-marriage. So another thing that I kind of learned early on, but also am still learning in general, is that closure is not a real thing. Like, my idea of closure has changed now like a million times, and I'm never gonna get what I want. I'm not gonna ever get the answers that I want. And like, even if you do start getting an answer, you're still gonna want more information. You're still gonna be wanting more closure. So like, if that's what you're searching for in a breakup, divorce, whatever, stop searching. I do want to say too that not all of this is necessarily like my advice and things I've discovered on my own. I did go through like a partial hospitalization program, if you know, you know, about a month ago while going through all of this. So some of this stuff like I learned from there, and I'm only going on month 3 of the divorce. So like, I'm still very much in the thick of it, and this is all still very fresh for me. So like, I'm still like learning and you know what I mean. The next thing that I have learned, or is still learning, that people keep telling me is that I am grieving not only the relationship, but also the future that I thought I was going to have. Like, we were pretty close to like talking about having kids, moving into a new house. And so I think that's part of the reason this hurts so bad, is because I lost the person that I love, and that I just married and thought that I was going to be building a life with. But I am also losing what I thought my future was going to be. So like, everything, how I thought everything looked a few months ago, completely changed. Like, everything is completely different now, and that is a lot in itself to like grasp. Another thing that I have learned, and this is probably how a lot of people feel for divorce, but I don't know if I just feel like it's worse for me because I'm in my 20s still and I just got married, but it's so embarrassing. Like, this could not be more of an embarrassing thing to happen to me. I don't know, like, I'm obviously getting uncomfortable even talking about it because I'm embarrassed by it. With that being said, I'm trying really hard to like lean into it and to just give myself grace with it, because like it was out of my control. Like, I didn't know it was going to be happening. If I could have controlled it, or I could have done something to stop it, I would have. But yeah, it's embarrassing and it sucks. No matter how much people tell you that it's not embarrassing, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. No, it's embarrassing. So I lost the sound somehow at the end of that video. So I guess, like, if you want to...
What's striking me again is that she's not, I don't even know if she was ready for marriage, to be honest with you. The way she's discussing it, which is what a lot of modern women do, the mindset that they're in is, oh, you know, we're going to do the wedding and we're going to have the future. She talks a lot about the future, and I know a lot of people do, but that's, I think, what a lot of modern women focus on, is the future as they see it. They don't focus on the future as it actually is until the future smacks them in the face, and it's like, well, you know, somebody else bought the house, my name wasn't on it, I did pay bills here, but it's not my house. You know, we're only married for, it doesn't sound like y'all were married for that long, maybe 6 or 7 months, honestly, which is crazy. Or maybe you guys only stayed in the house for 6 or 7 months. I'm not 100% sure, but these types of things, modern women don't seem to take seriously. It's just like, oh, well, that was a phase of my life. No matter if things were ruined, no matter if I have to rebuild all of that stuff, I can just rely on my support network. A lot of men don't have that that luxury. They don't have that at their leisure. While you're running back to your parents or going back to your mom or your dad's house, whichever, you have support. Men, it crushes them so much because they have to rebuild on their own. I've heard men taking 5, 10, 15 years to rebuild what they had because of divorce. It's crazy work.
It's not the usual split things down the middle kind of deal. She's reportedly going after half of everything he already made and 60% of his future earnings. And yes, you heard that right, 60% of money he hasn't even made yet. And people wonder why men like me and Anthony are just afraid to date anymore. It's not bitterness, it's straight up survival instinct. This man went from broke in a camper to topping the charts to being financially drained by the woman who stood beside him. And before you say, well, she was there before the fame, cool, so is the struggle. But how does that justify taking 60% of his future work, his future life? That's not justice, that's a financial ambush with a wedding ring. And it sends a loud message to every guy trying to build something real. Because if one bad relationship leads to a lifetime of financial burden, why even risk it? The courts won't protect you and the media won't defend you. All they'll say is man up while you get taken advantage of. I feel for Oliver, but this is bigger than just one man. This is why trust is collapsing and why men are walking away from relationships altogether. Because if love turns into a lawsuit, then you're just better off alone. And this is for entertainment.
Yeah, man, I think this is exactly it. I think you summed it up really, really well. It's the risk. I think a lot of men out there, yeah, sure, I'll get into it, but there's too much to lose. If I could get into it and it could be something that's fair, and we, after the relationship ends, we go our ways, I keep what was mine before, and then you keep what was yours, I even think some men will say, well, you know, if it was accumulated during the relationship, then maybe we can figure out a way to split that. But you're essentially taking, in some instances, 15, 20, 30 years of what he built. And now he literally, like in his 40s and 50s, has to start from scratch. And the woman, like I said in the previous clip, she just goes on about her business. People just take care of her. People are sorry for her. At least the women on TikTok, they feel sorry for her. And what does the man have? Nothing but time on his hands to try to rebuild, to think about his thoughts and try to figure out what it is that he can do to get back to where he was. It's really a sad situation in a lot of these results.
Not even exaggerating at this point. Every single time I have a conversation with a man, I literally do not ever want to fucking be in a relationship or even speak to a man. I just flew back from a wedding and I was chatting with this guy and he was telling me about his past relationship and how she was so great. She did all these things for him, cooked for him, you know, took care of him, all of these wonderful things that she did, and she was. And then he proceeds to tell me that, you know, the reason they got into the relationship was because she basically put it on him and was like, okay, well, like, what are we doing? And he was like, oh shit, like, she's kind of like putting me in a situation like, are we a thing? Are we not a thing? And so he made the decision to be like, all right, shit, I'll ask you out. So he proceeds to ask her out because he's like, you know what, I really do enjoy her company and I don't want to let her go. So they start dating. They date for almost a year. And she's talking about how she wants to start a family, how she wants to be a wife. And sure, it may be seeming like it's too soon for her to be bringing those things up or whatever, but it's like she's thinking long term. She's not thinking short term, because why the fuck is she going to get into a relationship if she's not thinking about the future, right? But this is where guys come in and they're like, oh, it's too soon, you know, she's doing too much. But why are you getting into a relationship with someone if you don't even plan on trying to see a future with them? Like, literally, what is the point of a relationship? Like, just to have someone to consistently bang? Consistently have someone to do all the things for you? To me, that's just fucking stupid. Like, you're fucking wasting your own time and hers. But he goes on to say that they broke up and it was cordial, it was mutual, whatever. Because she wants a family and he's not ready for that. And then he proceeds to tell me that he felt like she pressured him into asking her out because she was gonna leave. And that's what fucking pissed me off so bad. He enjoyed her company, but he didn't want to let her go and move on and find someone who actually wanted to be with her for real, so he chose to ask her out knowing that he didn't want to be with her long term. So obviously when she starts bringing up wanting to get married, have kids, this obviously scared him. He's like, all right, shit, I need to cut the shit quick. But then he goes on to say how wonderful she was, how great she was. But it's like, no matter what you do as a woman, no matter how great you are, no matter how wonderful you are, and all these XYZ fucking bullshit you do for a man literally means fucking nothing. And it convinced me further that literally do nothing for a fucking man. Do not put in all this fucking effort. Let them be the one to put the fucking effort in. I literally will never in my life go above and beyond for a man ever again, because I literally did that in my last relationship, and it just proves that this is fucking true. You could do XYZ, go above and beyond for someone, but if they don't want you, they don't want you. And this is a prime fucking example.
But why would you expect a man to take you out to dinner with this type of attitude? And not only take you out to dinner, why would you expect him to pay for a $200-$300 dinner? Why would you expect him to continue to wine and dine you, to pay for your Uber if you have kids, to pay for their daycare, to step in and be a stepdad with this type of attitude?
So what I really want to talk about today is that bullshit T app, that T dating advice, which is not even about dating. It's more about post this guy and bash him, say whatever you want to say about him, even if it happened 10 years ago or if it didn't happen at all. You guys are taking things out of context. You're making things up. You're bringing up family members, sisters, siblings, mothers, fathers, cousins, all this kind of information. And what you're really doing is ruining lives and hurting people's mental health. When someone hurts themselves, it's going to be on you. You're ruining lives. You're hurting people. You're being a hater. You're contributing to hate. You want to see more love and happiness in this world, but look at what you guys are doing. This is not okay. This is not Christian-like. This is not normal behavior. You guys have to get a grip on yourselves, literally. And you guys act like rumors don't happen and no one's ever said a rumor about you. I'm pretty sure they have, and you guys know exactly how it feels. So stop over-exaggerating. Stop reporting false information. Stop making shit up. Like, it's not okay. It's not worth it. You're literally degrading yourselves, degrading our man. If you're so worried about someone that's going to be an offender, I mean, if he's so bad, we would already know about him, one. Number two, there's a background check for a reason. And number three, like I said, people change, people live, people learn. So if you're with me and you don't like this app, I suggest reporting it to the App Store, reporting the post, and don't contribute to the hate. And when people bring this topic up to you, shut it down. Shut it down. I hope to see this app gone, diminished. That's it. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to see about it. Nothing. So please stop contributing to this hateful trend and spread more positivity. I know you guys want to have each other's backs, but you're doing more harm than good.
I was having a conversation with one of my girlfriends the other day, and she was telling me how she has a male friend who she's interested in romantically. And I said, have you said anything to him? And she was like, no. And I said, why not? And she said, well, he should get my hints. And I said, hints? What hints? She's like, I mean, the way I act around him and all this stuff. And I was like, the way you act around him? Like, what do you mean? And she's like, he should see that I like him. And I was just like, so why don't you just tell him that you like him? And she's like, well, I don't do that. I don't chase men. And I was like, like chasing men and letting a man know that you're interested in him are two different things. Chasing a man is once he knows that you like him and he's still not giving you any type of time of day or whatever. He kind of has you just kind of lingering over here. Letting a man know, and I don't necessarily mean like, hey, I like you, but giving him some subtle hints at least to let him know that you like him is two totally different things. And I was like, so how do you think he's going to know that you like him if you never say anything? She's like, well, he's going to have to figure it out. And I had to tell her, like, in this day and time, men are not approaching women, which is really weird to me. But I had to sit back and think, like, why aren't men approaching women? And I've come up with the thought of maybe it has to do with COVID and the Me Too movement. COVID, we were in the house for a year and a half by ourselves. And so we've just kind of learned how to, one, be by ourselves. And two, the Me Too movement, let me tell you something. If you talk or get with the wrong woman, they can ruin your whole life. I mean, just look at Shannon Sharpe. He just lost his job at ESPN because he wanted some little young OnlyFans model who he was in a relationship with, but then turned around and said, oh yeah, you sexually assaulted me, raped me, the R word and all these other things. And it's just like, what? So yeah, men, I think, gentlemen, if I'm wrong, let me know. But this is just my thought process, that men are just kind of like, just being cautious. Like, yeah, I'm not approaching women because, also in the day of social media, women will do dumb things like post it on social media and be like, oh, look at this guy, he tried to talk to me, oh, he's weird, so it's like, I think men are just like, I'm good. Like, if you're interested, let me know. But other than that, I'm just going to keep it moving. That's how I perceive it. And honestly, if I was a man, that's probably how I would perceive it too. Because like I said, women would be like, oh, he sexually assaulted me. Blanche, all he did was touch your elbow. Now everything is creepy. Everything is a sexual assault. Everything is unwanted attention. Men would usually be like, hi, how you doing? Smile. Oh, you look good today. Now women are like, what do you mean? Why are you smiling at me? Wait, what do you mean I look good today? Everything is taken so out of context. So yeah, if I was a man, I wouldn't say anything to women. I'm going to keep it moving. Unless you stop me and be like, hey, I like you. I'd be like, all right. Keep it moving. So fellas, let me know, am I off? Am I putting too much thought into this? Like I said, it was just my thought, because I was just trying to figure out like what has happened over the past few years, because before I could go anywhere. I could be at the gas station, the grocery store, walking down the street, and men would be like, they would stop me, hey, I find you attractive, can I get your number, whatever. I get stares. They looking at me, I'm looking at him. They looking at me, I'm looking at him. And we looking like, are we gonna say anything?
That's pretty much how it is. If you have the right demeanor and not an RBF, there's going to be a lot of times that a man is going to approach you because he sees that, oh shoot, maybe she's friendly. Guess what Kevin Samuel said? You need to be fit, feminine, and friendly. And not every woman out here is fit. But if you're feminine and friendly, how far is that going to take you?
I love how easy it is to piss men off on the internet.
What an interesting hobby.
I'm going to do it right now. Just talking about how easy they are to upset is like a dog whistle for them. And they'll be in my comments proving me right.
Let me see if I understand this particular thought process correctly. So if a person is making a type of content specifically designed to upset one demographic of people, if any member of that demographic, heaven forbid, stands up for themselves, responds in kind, shall we say, or makes any argument against any of the allegations that have been made, then that has proven the person who is intentionally making inflammatory content correct? And somehow they think that's a dog whistle. I kind of wonder if some individuals actually know the meanings of the words that they choose to use, because making content specifically to upset people is going to get reactions. And ironically, that is what a lot of individuals really depend on.
So something I have to admit is that when it comes to dating, I am not good. And here is why. I always tend to put people in the friend zone, or I have this thing where I feel like I'm not good enough. I'll arrange to meet with someone, but then I'll freak out and make it really abundant. I don't actually want to see them when I do. And I think the reason why I'm like this is because I am scared of being hurt. So it's easier to push someone away before you even meet them and not give them the chance to be welcomed into your life to hurt you. It sucks and I don't know why. Why am I like this? I guess because I got hurt so much from my last relationship. I'm actually petrified of being hurt again. But I'm working on it, guys. I am working on it.
And this is the type of attitude that men have to put up with. They have to pay for this. They have to wine and dine this. Until she figures out who she is, a man is spending. He's spending time, money, resources, energy on this woman with this type of attitude. And if a man says, you know what, I don't think I want to spend money on that. You don't even seem like you like me. Then all of a sudden he's not a real man, he's a brokey, and he's a dusty.
It's so funny because people are like, well, the reason why guys don't really come up to you is because you're very intimidating. You're intimidating. I'm just like, what am I gonna do? Smile like this? Everywhere I go, that's just not me. I walk around, I have an RBF. I'm a proud, resting bitch face person. I walk around how I'm supposed to walk around. And if that means like this, but I'm so happy. That's the thing, I'm happy. And I crack a smile here and there. But the thing is I'm not I don't, if I'm intimidating to you, then I guess we're not, then I guess, what the fuck? But the thing is, I'm the definition of looks can kill you, but is a cinnamon roll. That's me. And if you have the balls, I guess, to get to know me, then I'm just not like that. I guess, honestly, in a way, I feel like it's protection. You know? I don't know, guys.
How y'all expect men to wine y'all and dine y'all when y'all are not even pleasant people? Put a freaking smile on your face and shut up, bro. I mean, there's a proverb that says even the fool can basically trick somebody into thinking that he's smart by closing his mouth. Maybe y'all should take heed. Maybe y'all should follow that.
It is strict out here. I went on a date recently, and after we wrapped up, paid the bill, we were walking out, okay? He walked to the restaurant, and I took an Uber. He was like, oh, how are you getting home? I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna take an Uber. He's like, okay, I'm gonna walk home. We gave each other a hug. I'm calling my Uber. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be 5-7 minutes. I'm like, yeah, but it's okay. You don't need to wait if you don't want to. And he's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And then he just walks off and goes. I didn't like that. If if you're just walking, you don't have a car to catch, you don't have a whatever to catch, why can't you wait 5-7 minutes when you're like showing so much interest in me? After that, once I got home, he didn't text me to see if I got home safely. So that's a no ma'am, no ham, no turkey for me, because what do you mean? Like innately something you should know. If you're going on a date, you like the girl, or even just to be like a gentleman, kind person, you wait to make sure that she's home safe. And then he messages me the next day being like, hey, like I had a really good time. I would love to see you again. No, sorry, not in the business of teaching you.
Well, he could wait for you. You just said that you didn't want him to wait for you. Well, you don't have to if you don't want to. That's saying, no, I got it. Men don't know if you're serious about, hey, no, I think you need to catch the hint and leave. The man, if he stayed and he was like, oh, I think it's just weird that you get to see me get in an Uber, you might see my address and I don't want you to see that, yada, yada, yada. So you saying as an adult, no, you don't have to wait if you don't want to. And I'm saying, okay, I'm going to go ahead and head out, right? Number one. Number two, the man is walking home. I don't know what's going on. It might be safe or it might be dangerous. It's probably not super dangerous, but why would you think that he wants to just wander around at night, depending on the time of day, right? I want to get home. If you don't want me here, then I'm going to the house. Period. End of story. That's it. Like, you guys, you're going to be a nightmare. If this is the way you do business, you're going to be a nightmare in a relationship.